The top 5 heading into the finals. In first place, Prado's Spark and Natasha Stallings. Second place, Mr. Song and Emma Mulvey. Third place, Mr. Dusty and Samantha Gritz. Fourth place after Cheyenne and Joyce Brinsfield. And in fifth place, Hagar San and Ali Davis. So each of our horses and riders are entering. First for the Hunter flat class and then the over fences. Carrie Damer, a USCF R judge for hunters, equitation, and hunter breeding, as well as Sissy Wicks, a USCF R judge for hunters and equitation, are the judges this afternoon. We ask all our riders now to spread out, and you're being judged at the walk. And on the live stream on USCF Network and the Retired Racehorse Project website and social media, we welcome in our color commentator, Ashley Gubich, and we've seen the eventers, we've seen the show jumpers, and now we see the show hunters, and it's a little quieter for these horses to take a thoroughbred to be a show hunter. What are some of the characteristics that need to be successful at this discipline?
Well, just as Stuart said, I believe it was in the jumpers that a lot of these horses pick
Riders
their discipline.
Trot, please, riders trot.
This is definitely one that you can't force a horse into hunters. What they're looking for is soft and supple and really relaxed and nice fluid movements. And not necessarily all off-the-track thoroughbreds can just go right into that mindset and that movement.
And also trying to keep it quiet with all the distractions in the arena, a new environment for these off-the-track thoroughbreds. And what are your impressions so far? Because they did the classes outside in the prelims, but now how are they performing inside this arena with all of the other things that are going on?
Again, this is a lot for these young horses or these green horses to take in, and overall they're holding it together pretty well. Some of them are a little up, but that's to be expected to some extent to see some of these horses in this environment. This may be their first time competing in an indoor. They probably warmed up in here, but they probably have not been asked to do these specific things in this arena so far. So it's pretty awesome to see these horses.
Riders walk, please. Riders walk.
How they're handling this situation. And again, hunters is all about the details. It's said about riding, and I think very specifically with hunters, that hunters is, or riding in general, is simple. It's just not easy.
Canter, please. Riders canter.
And what they're asked to do is quite simple. Walk, trot, canter, change directions. Walk, trot, canter. And it's not necessarily the easiest thing to pull off and have the class that they're looking for in hunters.
Well, Ashley, you work with a lot of off-the-track thoroughbreds through the aftercare program, Canter, Colorado. And if you did a hunter class at the track, it would be run. But here we got walk, trot, canter. So when you get a horse that has been trained to run fast, how do you get them to carry themselves at these different gaits?
The first thing is a lot of groundwork and a lot of time spent walking.
Walk, please. Riders walk.
You really want to disconnect that brain from get on and gallop. So even these guys that were possibly on the track sometime this year, I bet their riders and trainers took a lot of time of just slowing that brain down.
Reverse and walk.
I'm a very big advocate of just getting the horse out and just hitting some trails and exposing them to new things and going out for a nice long but easy ride and get them to slow down, because they'll probably be amped initially, and just let them go until they figure out that they're really not being asked to do anything that intense anymore.
Trot, please. Riders trot.
And
so we'll go through each of these horses individually when they do their over fences round. We're seeing them on the flat at the moment. And we appreciate your joining us on USCF Network and the Retired Racehorse Project website and social media. We had eventing won by Reloaded and Elisa Wallace, and then Interactive Spy won the jumpers with Morgan Boyer. Riders walk, please. Riders walk. This Show Hunter division is sponsored by XL Equine. And when we see the over fences, riders canter, please. Canter. Over fences, the riders have split, some going over 2 feet and some at 2.6. On your screen, we just saw rider 412, Mr. Song and Emma Mulvey. There's definitely a challenge on one end of the arena with the gate and with all of the signage that these horses have to canter by. Trot, please. Riders, trot.
And this goes to show the challenges for these young horses, that all of these horses
Walk, please. Riders, walk.
are in these finals because they showed how amazingly calm and collected and well presented they were outside in the arena. And again, these guys have most likely not had much experience, certainly in an environment like this. So some horses hold it together very well, and some of them are still learning, and it's not a knock against the horse. This is why
Thank
we
you,
have this
riders, and
competition.
you can be excused at this time.
And
so we get a round of applause for the horses on the flat. And yeah, you look at the horses in their retraining, and some of them, like Prado Spark, the horse who's currently in the lead, the breeder for this horse, Lawana Wilcher, said that this horse has had less than 6 months of retraining off the track for this type of competition. About ready to start the over fences portion of the Show Hunter division, sponsored by XL Equine. And the first horse and rider to enter the arena will be Ali Davis, bridle number 72, with Hagar San, one of the horses with the green bridle number that is for sale as part of the ASPCA Makeover Marketplace. This will be a 5-year-old chestnut gelding, bred in Illinois, raced in Illinois at Fairmount Park, as well as in Ohio at Belterra Park. Never won in 14 starts, but was second or third in 7 career races. Ali from Gallipolis, Ohio, is now in the arena and will be going 2-6 over fences. So Ashley, we see the first horse, Hagar San, and first impressions of this chestnut gelding.
I'm actually happy to see how he came in. He was one that was a little more rattled on the flat, and he's a quick learn, and he's figured it out, and he's looking much better coming in now by himself and ready for these jumps. Big jump on this boy. Looks like he almost wants to do some jumpers. Really nice, steady approach. And again, this greenie's just learning how to set up and balance, so his rider did a good job there to kind of help him through that first jump, which is a little intimidating. Much better with that second one.
And over the vertical to Oxer line and steadying the takeoff for Hagar San.
And you'll see one big difference here between the jumpers and the hunters is they take their time and they take all the room they can, where the jumpers, especially that second round of the jumpers, they were making all these tight turns and cutting every space they could. And in this one, you really want to use your corners. If you've ever ridden hunters, I'm sure you've been yelled at by your trainer to use your corners and go deep and set up your line all the way from the corner.
The horse seems to get to the base of the jump and really want to spring over it.
Yeah, pretty game to go. He's really happy about his job. You can see he's learning. He's trying real hard.
And you can see him eyeball as he gets close to the jump. Hagar San and Allie Davis from Ohio, who is A-rated at the World Equestrian Center Spring Classic. This horse off the track from Illinois, and there are 35 states that are represented by the trainers, and Ohio is where Allie Davis heralds from as we welcome in the next horse and rider combination into the arena. And more locally, in nearby Versailles, Kentucky, is Joyce Brinsfield with this horse After Cheyenne. Oh no, we're someone 414. Okay. This is Mr. Dusty who will go next, and Mr. Dusty is ridden by Samantha Gritz.
So this discipline is exclusively judged, this class at least. We're not doing equitation, so this class is specifically just looking at how the horse looks. Now with these green horses, it is incredibly important that you have a very good rider or a trainer aboard, because it's their job to set these horses up. But what you're seeing, it should look like the horse is carrying their rider around effortlessly. So to do these green horses in a hunter class, it really takes a skilled person to pull it all together and help their horse set up and be smooth and make it look like the horse is just carrying them around.
This is a 5-year-old bay gelding who was purchased as a weanling at Keeneland for $38,000 and raced in Louisiana and Maryland. And now with Samantha Gritz, who's from Warrenton, Virginia. Samantha's been riding her whole life and has always been around starting horses off the track. Samantha Gritz from Warrenton, Virginia on Mr. Dusty, who is a weanling, was bought at the Keeneland Horses for All Ages sale for $38,000 and had one win in a 14-race career that came in the debut at Louisiana Downs. And so these first two riders have gone at the 2.6 height, and the next three riders will be at the 2-foot height over fences in the Hunter division that is sponsored by XL Equine. And a hard-working jump crew here, and so as they come in to set up the course at 2 feet, let's give them a big round of applause, and all of the volunteers who've helped put on the 2018 TCA Thoroughbred Makeover. Now we have the 5-year-old gray gelding After Cheyenne entering the arena with Joyce Brinsfield from nearby Versailles, Kentucky, who started riding at the age of 3 and has learned under some of the top riders, including in Olympians, and is a judge herself at local Kentucky Hunter Jumper Association shows. After Cheyenne, a 16-race career with one win that came back in 2016, retired in September of last year. So now the 2-foot height for the next three riders with After Cheyenne. And this horse seems eager to go, Ashley.
Yeah, he's definitely excited to go, but what I like to see is he's not fighting. He's listening to his rider pretty well, and he's getting his changes coming down the line, which is really great to see. At this level, if you're at the 2 foot and you need to change your lead, you're not going to get docked if you have to come down and do a simple change in the corner. And this horse is amped, and he's really ready to go, and he's still listening to his rider. He's got his changes, and he is paying attention, and he's looking pretty good now and relaxing a little bit into it. She's taking some time in the corner there to kind of set him up and get him refocused.
Joyce is really using the whole arena on this horse. And they now go deep into the corners and come past the crowd for the final line.
And what I love about riding is no matter how well you prepare and how well set up you are, it's still an improvisation, and you cannot guarantee what kind of horse you're going to have and what you're going to do at that point.
After Cheyenne and Joyce Brinsfield completing their round over fences. This horse's win came in New Jersey at the Meadowlands and also raced in New York and in Florida, but the Kentucky bred now back home in Versailles, Kentucky with Joyce Brinsfield. The next horse and rider that we'll see in the arena, currently sitting in second place in the Show Hunter division, is Mr. Song and Emma Mulvey. And Emma, not only a trainer of this prospect who competed in Show Hunters and dressage this weekend, but Emma also has a barn at Keeneland and gallops many of her own horses. This horse, Mr. Song, sired by Unbridled Song, who is the sire of the horse that has earned the most of any racehorse in history, Arrowgate. And Mr. Song, with such good breeding, was a $140,000 purchase at the 2013 Keeneland yearling sale. Made just $13,000 on the track, racing here in Kentucky as well as in Florida. Had 1 win in 11 starts. Retired in January of last year, and now with Emma Mulvey, racehorse as well as off-the-track thoroughbred trainer based here in Lexington. So this is one of the things I particularly enjoy about the Thoroughbred Makeover, is when you have someone who's deeply involved in the racing industry, like Emma Mulvey is a trainer keeping a racing stable of about 10 to 15 horses on the Kentucky circuit, still involved in the off-the-track thoroughbred life, and galloping a racehorse would be very different from what she's attempting to do here with Mr. Song in the Show Hunter division. And we've seen throughout the weekend several of the racing connections still involved in the horses' lives after the track.
Well, yeah, and because of events like this, like the makeover, you're seeing more and more of a connection with those racing trainers and racing connections, and then their aftercare. And every year we come, we hear about more and more people who this is their first time getting involved with the horse's care after they're done racing. And I'm really, really impressed with this horse's turnaround. He was a little nervous, again, in the flat, and he's looking like a pro right now. He's really relaxed. He's got a nice stride on him, and he's really, again, responding to his rider. And if you see, he's got that nice, steady rhythm, and it's taking him right to where he needs to be every time, just like that, right to the jump. She sits there and patient, and she waits for it, and they're looking like a very good pair right now.
See his ears come forward as he gets to the jump, locked in on what he's being asked to do. Later on in ranch work, there's an exercise rider who's competing in his first ever show, Juan Pereira, as Emma Mulvey and Mr. Song wrap up their test. We're sitting in second place in the Show Hunter standings before the finale, and now the horse who was in first place in Show Hunters coming into the finale will go next, and that will be Prado Spark. And as the course was being set up, we heard from Luana Wiltshire telling the inspiring story of Prado Spark, a homebred who had many major setbacks in his training and early on in his life, 3 surgeries, and the connection's very grateful to the team at Hagyard for continuing to battle through the challenges that Prado Spark put in front of them. But this is the result here, and now transitioning into a new career as a young 4-year-old gray gelding, competed in competitive trail and now competing in the show hunters.
And you can tell just by looking at this horse, he is well loved and well cared for. So anyone out there who says that thoroughbreds are hard keepers, here's one to look at. This is how I like my thoroughbreds. He's got a little bit of extra on him, and he's well muscled and well balanced, and it shows.
He's only been in retraining less than 6 months. And with all that he's gone through, this is quite remarkable for him to make it here. And is a good-looking horse. Got the lead change by the gate as they go deep into the corners and prepare to face up to the next fence.
Yep, so he's a little bit on the bit there, a little excited to take that line. All in all, was ridden pretty well. You see he's a little up and happy to go. Our last horse in here, a little bit smoother and steady and balanced, and probably a little bit easier ride. He's making his rider work today, but he's still getting the job done. And again, he was just started his training, a few months ago, so still quite an impressive go to be in here and in this arena and handle this situation. Again, there showed a little bit of adjustability, which was good to see. She was able to add that stride in and rebalance him.
And they're about to finish up their round, a contender for the $5,000 top prize, and the discipline winner will also have the chance to be America's Most Wanted Thoroughbred to win the $10,000 prize at the end of the afternoon, and that applause got him going. Prado Spark and Natasha Stallings from Frankfort, Kentucky, and on hand here in the TCA covered arena, the team from Scuffle Hill Farm that bred Prado Spark, and right in front of the announcer's booth, they were watching like proud parents of this 4-year-old gelding who's had an amazing story to make it here to the Thoroughbred Makeover. Has 5 screws in his leg after the 3 surgeries, and a horse who really seems to like his job, which is still new, just 6 months in the making, only off the track and into retraining since April. And quite an interesting double to not only be involved in the show hunter finale, but to compete in one of the Western disciplines in competitive trail. First, we'll recognize the Best Turned Out winner, sponsored by Nina Bonney, and receiving a halter from Clever with Leather, the Best Turned Out in the show hunter division, bridle number 44, Chris Bennings and Dusty Bottoms. Getting you up to date if you're just joining us in the TCA covered arena. We started with eventing, and Reloaded was the winner of the eventing division, sponsored by Tipperary, ridden by Elisa Wallace, who had 2 in the finals. And then it was show jumpers with Interactive Spy and Morgan Boyer winning, and those 2 will be returning to attempt to be crowned America's Most Wanted Thoroughbred later on this afternoon, and we'll find out which Show Hunter prospect will be joining them as well. The way America's Most Wanted Thoroughbred works is each of the 10 discipline winners will return to the arena once all of the 10 disciplines finish up, and there will be a phone number given out, and you can vote on which horse you think deserves to be America's Most Wanted Thoroughbred. The winner of America's Most Wanted Thoroughbred will earn $10,000, as well as being recognized in special winner's circle ceremonies tomorrow at Keeneland Racecourse in Lexington, and then at the Breeders' Cup next month at Churchill Downs. And now we can recognize the top 10 for Show Hunters presented by XL Equine. In 10th place, we had bridle number 100, John's Island, and Caitlin Malloy Brennan. In 9th place, bridle number 435, Philippic and Morgan Worley. Eighth went to bridle number 38, Direct Threat and Victoria Smith. In 7th, bridle number 293, Duray and Christiana Botch. In 6th place, bridle number 530, Tis That and Carolyn Newbell. And now to the top 5 from the finalists that we saw today. Coming in 5th place, bridle number 72, Hagar San and Ali Davis. In 4th place, bridle number 412, Mr. Song and Emma Mulvey. Third place, bridle number 444, Prado Spark and Natasha Stallings. In 2nd place, bridle number 2, After Cheyenne and Joyce Brinsfield. And the 2018 Show Hunter champion at the Thoroughbred Makeover, bridle number 414, Mr. Dusty and Samantha Gritz. Also, they were the top amateur and recognizing the top junior, and that was bridle number 28, Emma Engel and Command the Stars. Congratulations to all the connections for Show Hunter, and thank you to XL Equine for supporting the division. And that wraps up the third of the 10 disciplines at the Thoroughbred Makeover finale, and shortly we will be turning our attention to the field hunters, but not before we salute the Show Hunters one more time as they parade with their ribbons inside the TCA covered arena. Congratulations once again to the winner of Show Hunters, Mr. Dusty and Samantha Gritz. Samantha from Warrenton, Virginia. Mr. Dusty, a 5-year-old bay gelding who is a weanling, was purchased for $38,000, had a career of just 14 races, just one win, and that came in his first ever race at Louisiana Downs, retiring after September of last year, and now a Thoroughbred Makeover champion with Samantha Gritz from Warrenton, Virginia.